Are you in your 30s and you just feel lost in life? If that describes you, know that you're not alone. In fact, it's actually quite common. According to an article in The Guardian, from the age of around 18, our happiness started to decline and it hits its lowest point around age 40. If that describes you and you want to know why we feel the way we feel and what we can do to make ourselves feel better, please stay in this video. I remember in our 20s, we usually just do whatever we should do. I bought my first condo when I was 24. I got my car in my early 20s. I was getting one job and one internship, and I was just on this designed path for me because that's what you're supposed to do to be a good citizen. I even get my MBA degree because people said that it was going to be good for my career. However, I never thought about it whether that's something that I genuinely was interested in doing. Even for something like traveling, which was supposed to be my passion, I was just busy hopping from one country to the other country to check off a list because I wanted to hit that hashtag go 30 countries before 30, and it was really about hitting that goal and prove to myself and the world that I could do it. I was a serial dater. I was jumping from relationship to relationship because I finished with one relationship. I just felt this anxiety like I can't just sit by myself and be alone because that will mean that I'm not desirable. It's just very much like little thought and a lot of actions. The chances are when we hit our 30s, we have stable jobs, we have stable relationships, we probably even started families, and that's when you have time and you stop and you're like, wait a second, like, is this my life? How come I have everything I've ever wanted, but I just don't have that spark anymore? I don't feel passion in my life. I feel like bored in my own dream life. It's actually a good thing because it's a sign that your body is telling you that something need to be changed. Body has a strong ability to heal itself, right? So, for example, if you cut yourself, you will start to feel pain immediately, and that's a sign that your body is telling you that, hey, maybe you should get some Band-Aid, or hey, you should maybe get some painkiller or go to the hospital. If your body doesn't send you any sign, how are you supposed to know that something is off and you need to take care of it? So please don't ignore the sign. Doesn't matter whether it's emptiness, anxiety, a feeling of stuckness. You need to listen to your body because that will present you with a golden opportunity to change your life for the better. And there's usually a few different scenarios when you're feeling empty or stuck. The first scenario is like everything is fine, but however, I just feel a little bit lost, or like I feel like empty, like don't know what's going on, right? And that's what I felt when I turned 30. I had a good stable relationship, great friends, thriving business, but despite all that, I just had this feeling like I didn't really like my life and I didn't know why. My 20s, if I felt the way that I felt at the time, I will immediately start to sabotage. I will be like, okay, it's because the guy I'm with, something's wrong with him, or something's wrong with my career, I gotta fix it. But when you're in a good spot and nothing is externally going wrong, and you still feel that, it's something wrong with you internally, right? And that's when I started to really introspect the first time in a long time. If I were to be honest with myself, that was because I was feeling deeply disconnected from myself. So if you think about it, if you don't even accept yourself every single day that you get up, you just started to whip yourself into shape, so to say, I need to do this, I gotta do that. That kind of motivation, if that is behind your action, that means you don't accept who you are. And if you think about living with your enemy number one, which is yourself, every single day, obviously that's not going to feel nice. Doesn't matter how good things are going for you externally, you're just going to feel shit. And that is what I felt at the time. Nothing was ever enough for me because every single time I had a goal, there's going to be the next goal, right? And me myself was the biggest critique of me, and I thought that was good for me, but honestly it was silently killing me, and it was killing my spirit. So if that's who you are and that's the situation that you feel that you are in, the first thing is just to ask yourself why and really be honest with yourself. Like, is everything really fine? What are the things I'm not happy about? And there's going to be a reason deep inside of you. There is a reason. If you're just waiting to be honest with yourself and waiting to accept whatever that comes out of your psyche. The second scenario is that I know that I want to change my life. I don't want it to just survive anymore. I want to thrive, but I don't know what to do. So that is when you needed to find who you are. Sometimes we are so deep into the process of being indoctrinated into the society in order to fit in. We forgot who we were. And the person that you were, a kid, when 5 years old, when you're 10 years old chasing after that butterfly, is probably very different from the person that you are now, right? Because over decades, going to school, getting a job, behaving, we are no longer the person who's carefree. We weren't the kid who was able to play soccer for a whole afternoon or playing with their friends and just do stupid silly things for hours to end and just enjoy that process, not being carried away by guilt, anxiety, feeling like I'm wasting my time, feeling like I should do something better. This is our most simple form of ourselves. And this is when you needed to get it back in order to get back that spark that you once had. I remember after a few years of struggling and not knowing, I felt like I lost myself. One day, I just had enough of it. And I told myself, you needed to go to do things that you used to like. And I found two things. One was that I always loved philosophy books, something that would never disappoint me, the pure pursuit of knowledge. And I bought myself a bunch of books. And the second thing was that I started to listen to classical music because I always loved classical music as a kid, Beethoven, Mozart, whatever. I would listen to all of them when I was a kid. However, I think after I was 12 years old, I just stopped that because I was like, yeah, it's kind of a waste of time. Let me, listen to some cool pop music. But, when I was rediscovering myself, I stuck to classical music and I stuck to philosophy. I had never been that happy for a long time. So if that's who you are, I encourage you to just find your thing, the thing that you knew that will never disappoint you. You knew that you always resort to when you're a kid. That will start to give you some spark that you've lost. The third scenario that you could potentially find yourself in is that I know what I want, but I lack courage to pursue it. So this is really about your limiting beliefs. Now, we all have our limiting beliefs because when we were a kid, we were very impressionable. We didn't have critical thinking abilities. We can't look at somebody and be like, oh, are they full of shit? We don't have that ability, right? So what happens is that we listen to what other people say about ourselves and also about our situation, about our world, and we take their words for our own words. We thought that that's just how things are. So maybe I always wanted to play the guitar, but every single time you think about it, you're like, maybe I'm too old to play the guitar because my parents told me that only kids do that. Adults don't do it. That's not true, right? So what you can do is you can, every single time that you feel something is resisting, something that stops you from doing that one thing you wanted to do, you write your fear down on a piece of paper, every single fear that you can think about, and just read it back to yourself and be like, does that make sense? So, for example, in that example I just gave out about guitar, You can write down, I'm too old to play the guitar, and you can read it to yourself. And then you immediately will find how ridiculous that sounds, right? Like that's not even true. Nobody's ever too old to play any musical instruments. In fact, if that's what your friend is telling you, you're going to tell them that they're crazy. So why are you telling yourself that? What feels like an eternity will pass. So your feeling of stuckness and emptiness and lost will pass as well. However, if you don't take any steps to address these feelings, it's just like if you don't put on a band-aid on your wound, just take longer to heal, right? And if the wound is too big, it might never heal. So you can't ignore your feelings. Even though sometimes they suck, they're still your North Star. They will point you to the right direction if you just listen to them. So if you feel lost in your 30s, don't fret. Know that it's very common and everybody will go through it at some point in their life. But do use it as a sign from the universe that something needs to change and take bold steps to change it and make your dream life come true. If you like this episode, please let me know down in the comment whether you have felt lost in your 30s and how you dealt with it. Like always, please like and follow me. I'll see you all in the next episode.